What is going on, guys? It's the Mad Dragon. It's a Monday, which can mean only one thing. We're going to be checking out the world rankings to see what has shifted up due to that final round of the Six Nations. And taking a look at some of the Tier 2 teams you might already be able to see on screen. There's been some big shifts up further down in the leaderboards, and then we'll move on to talk about the fantasy results. We get to crown our champions for the 2023 Six Nations, leading in to the big boy of the World Cup coming later this year. So starting out then with the world rankings. In terms of the Six Nations teams, we had 3 big wins over the course of the weekend, but it doesn't affect that top 10 at all. Teams winning points. Ireland, of course, getting their win over England. There's been some talking points around that, of course. I've seen a lot of people talking about red card, no red card, some big scenarios going on in that one. But after winning the Six Nations, the Grand Slam, the Triple Crown, everything you could ever possibly need, we see that Ireland will be still holding out that number 1 spot, 91.82. They will finish on at the end of the Six Nations. France in second place, 90.47. It's the same order we got to see in the Six Nations finishing. With France managing to get their win over Wales, they'll still be holding that second place spot. New Zealand and South Africa, of course, haven't played any games. They'll be retaining 3rd and 4th. Scotland, after beating Italy, thanks to Blair Kinghorn's nice little hat-tricks of tries there, end on 82.77. So the gap between the top 4 and the rest is pretty extreme, to be fair, but nice to see that Scotland get to finish in 5th place at the end of the Six Nations. England, after losing to Ireland, will remain in 6th on 82.12. Australia, 7th on 81.8, and Argentina on 80.72. Of course, not played any games yet this year. Wales, after dropping down to 10th, they came back to 9th after that win against Italy. They did lose to France, but they will finish the Six Nations in that 9th place on 78.08, and unfortunately for Italy, all the way down here, 74.63 in 14th. It really doesn't display to me how well Italy have played across the Six Nations. It's a shame they're still down there in that 14th place. And if you put them up against some of the teams above them, you know, teams like Georgia, Samoa, Fiji, you know, they're sort of in the realms of that, but I still feel like Italy might get the win for me as a prediction over teams like Georgia and Samoa, but they will remain in 14th. Elsewhere in the world, there's been some games going on, which is really fun. I haven't been able to talk about a lot about the Tier 2 stuff. Georgia getting a win, overtake Samoa and move up to 76.23, slowly encroaching on that top 10 position. Romania move above Spain on 65.85, closing in on the USA there as well. Nice for them to be climbing up the board. Netherlands overtake Brazil on 55.84. Still a bit of a gap towards Russia. Korea, Zimbabwe and Kenya all climbing up as Germany and Poland drop down. I feel like last year we were talking a little bit about how Germany was slowly climbing up the rankings. So shame for them to drop back down into 32nd. The Philippines, Uganda, Madagascar, Malta, Sri Lanka, Croatia, all moving up as Sweden dropped down from 41st down to 47th. Now, I actually don't know what games were played in these Tier 2 nations, but I'm going to guess there was a heavy loss for Sweden, as opposed to that all of these teams seem to have won, with no one else dropping down really bar Sweden. So I'm going to guess it's more that Sweden actually lost their game heavily and dropped down. That's going to be my stab in the dark of that one. And nothing going on further down. Of course, Rugby 24 coming out soon. Talking about all these different national teams, over 100 national teams. Will we get to see all of them when it comes out eventually by the end of this year? So, at the end of the Six Nations then, Ireland still remaining top as they have done for a good while now, and winning that Grand Slam, showing why they're that number 1 team in the world. Moving on to the Superbru then. The predictor to start off with, we'll start out with the first game. A lot of Grand Slam points this week. This might be the most Grand Slam points I've ever seen. Everyone going for the favourites this week. Grand Slam points sort of didn't mean anything because it sort of cancelled out along the way. You can see my results in the top left here. A few of them got pretty well. At one point, France were actually going to be getting me a big chunk of points in that game, but Wales clawed that one back a little bit. So Scotland versus Italy won by 12. I said Scotland by 14, so I was pretty close in that marker there, but I didn't get my bonus point because 5 of you all picked Scotland by 12. Bears Gamer, Dave Wakefield, Connor does Rugby, Cercery 2, and Gravy, all there picking exactly 12. Absolutely fantastic by you guys. A lot of people, though, also got that 0.5. Only one of us, Bowie, went for Italy, went for that 1 point. And at 1 point, Italy looked like it could be slowly going their way, and there would have been some big points coming to you, but unfortunately not to be. So congratulations to the 5 of you for getting it bang on this week. France versus Wales. I changed my pick for this one from my preview video. I went big. I said France by 30, and at one point it was getting out there, and I thought I was going to win some big points. A couple of people did join me up towards that 30. Cameron Fish went all the way up to 35. But where did we want to be? We wanted to be down here. The final difference was 13. So quite a lot of people in that 0.5 region, but 2 people again, bang on. Ray Gravel, we've said your name across the tournament before, and Beterav as well. Both of you picking exactly 13, so splitting that bonus point between you. Bit of a shame for these guys, though. Pierre Sambuca went for 1 too many, and Gobi went for 1 too little, so a bit of a shame for you. A couple of people went for Wales. Banana went for 120 to Wales. Full confidence, Banana. That's what we like to see. Got to go outrageous. If it had gone that way, I don't know how close you've had to have been. They would have had to have scored, I think, 100 to have got there. Full confidence from Banana in the Wales team. Ireland versus England. Ireland won by 13. I said Ireland by 18. So they actually slightly underperformed. The boot of Owen Farrell doing well for them. Cameron Fish out there again on some big calls for this week. Ireland by 40 for you. Quite a few of us got in that 0.5 region. Sambuca, the only one. He's been close throughout this round for a couple of the other ones. 13 picking for Ireland. Bang on. Get yourself a bonus point this round. It's been a good round for you. A couple of people went for England. Roach and Ian, you guys had some confidence in that England would make a massive bounce back. You were in the 7% of the community. Wow, a lot of people really didn't expect England to do well in that one. So in terms of the round, wow, Ray Gravel took this round. I've only said your name once, it feels like, through this. I've obviously missed something along the way here. But Ray Gravel taking this round on 6 points. 3 from 3, 1.5 match points, and that half bonus point along with the Grand Slam takes you out to 6 with a TDM of 4. That's ridiculous. That is outrageously close for the cost of 3 games. Cercery 2 ends in joint second place, with Dave Wakefield. Congratulations to the both of you for getting in second there. And then there's a bit of a fight here. Joint third between 4 or 5 of you. Gobi, Mr. Cucumber, Kian, Poxy, and Beterav all smashing that on 5.5. Bears Gamer and Connor does Rugby and Gravy on 5.25. Wow, there is not a lot of difference here. The rest of us were pretty much the people like me, I think, that just picked the right teams and got the Grand Slam bonus point. So all of us, well done to everyone who scored 5 in that one, including Villa Farrell, who was leading the tournament going into this round. Lord Nicholas starting off the 4.5s down here. 4s, 2.5s. A couple of people getting some things wrong. Banana with that wild call. Still managing to score 2 correct, though. Nice to see there. And Bowie, unfortunately, down there, going for that Italy pick. If it had paid off, there would have been some big points coming your way. And a few people were 0, either just picking outrageously wrong or not getting your picks in time. So congratulations to Ray Gravel for taking this round. How does it shake up the leaderboard? Could anyone knock off Villa Farrell off that top spot? And the answer is no. Villa Farrell taking this one, 14 win points. Meaning across the 6 nations, you only got 1 game incorrect. That's kind of incredible. That is some fantastic prediction picking. 3 match points, 4 Grand Slam points, and a 0.83 for bonus points. Wow, so even though you got all those calls correct, not actually that many bonus points for being the closest. A lot of other people have overtaken you for the bonus points, but it just goes to show consistency is sometimes more important than getting it bang on. Finishing on 22.33, a mega score. I don't think I've ever got into the 20s on these sort of scores, so well done to you. Fantastic finishes in second place on 20.5 with 13 wins, joined by Beterav on the 13 wins as well. Congratulations to Beterav, sniping third place, slightly away from Schmiddings there, moving up. You both ended on 20.33. I'll leave that to you guys in the comments if you want to fight out for if that's a joint third because of the total points you finished on, or does Beterav get it because you actually called 1 game correct more than Schmittings. I don't know. I'll leave that up to both of you, but well done to both of you guys. Poxy retains in 5th on 19.5. Cercery 2 climbs above me. I just managed to overtake me. Finishes on 19. 0.25. I retain. I'm in 7th. Hey, you know what? I said at the start of this tournament I had a really bad first round. I was hoping to just finish in the top 10. 7th, I'm actually quite happy with. I'm kind of glad with that one. Kian moves up one more in the final round, joining with Rugby 15 on 18.33. You guys actually had pretty much the same across the board. The only difference for you was the match points. Kian had one more, but then Rugby 15 had one more in terms of the Grand Slam points. I'll let you fight out for the joint position there. Mr. Cucumber coming in 10th on 18 alongside Gobi. So many of you guys have got joint scores. You guys are actually only separated by the TDM, which is the points difference from what your picks were versus what was actually scored. So congratulations both of you. Ray Gravel there, winning the round, managing to climb further 2 spaces, unfortunately not getting into the top 10, but what a good round for you this one. Connor Does Rugby holding out in 13th. Scottish Squid dropping down 4 places this week, not your week this one. Finishes on 17. Do You Like Curry climbs 1, Pierre up 3, and Bears Gamer also up 3 with another good round for you. We're hitting that 16 marker here. GMC 10 stays in 18th on 15.5. Joined now by Top Notch Rugby climbing up to 15.5. Sambuca has gone down 5. That seems mad. I feel like you had some good picks this round, didn't you? Unless I've completely misremembered from about 2 minutes ago. Finishes on 15.5. I think Sam actually won one of the first ever ones we did, so I think like the veterans of the fantasy leagues now were really beginning to struggle, including myself, with so many people joining in. Banana dropping down 4 with some fun picks this weekend. Dojoba climbs 1 up to 22nd. Cameron Fish in 23rd climbing 2. Lord Nicholas climbing 4 up to 24. I did go back and have a look at the video from last year because I genuinely can't remember who won last year, and I think Lord Nicholas was the person who actually won the Predictor series last year. So unfortunately the crown being taken away from you in this one. Ian dropping down a little bit as well, who was doing so well with some of the Autumn Internationals and what have you last year. Gravy climbs 4. I'm new here down 1. Dave Wakefield with a good final round for you, climbing 5 spaces, getting into the top 30 there. Bowie, Joshua Pears, Roach, Lepore, and Kelly all dropping down, unfortunately for you guys, but did crack that 10 points up the top there. And then, unfortunately, Rob T. Davis, Vivara, Kirin, and Mamat Bay. It's really hard to read on a small screen. You guys finishing down there towards the bottom, not getting all your picks in over the tournament. So congratulations to Villa Farrell, the new champion of the Predictor Series. I think as well, this is Villa Farrell's first ever time getting involved with the Superbru. Just goes to show, guys, anyone still watching this, wondering whether they fancy taking part in the next one, you don't necessarily need to be this hardcore know-it-all about rugby. You can join for the first time and do really well. So congratulations to Villa Farrell for winning the Predictor Series. Moving on then to the Fantasy League, where there was some big talking points to go over this week. So in terms of how the round ended, it's your boy, it's me. After my 2 opening pretty poor rounds, I've managed to win 2 and came 3rd, I think, in the last 3 rounds. I had a massive comeback. I was 15 points behind Etai, fighting it out for first place last week, if you can remember, and I have won this week. 242 Etai coming in second place on 237.5, and Bowie coming in there on 231 for 3rd place this week. Now, there's some big talking points around how it'll set up. We'll get a bit more into it in the leaderboards. I did check out Etai's team. And if you look at the scoreboards over here, you might see how similar our numbers are. That is because we picked 13 of the 15 players identical. Absolutely astonishing. I don't think I've ever had a team that's so similar to someone else's. Etai picking some good ones this week. David Wakefield finishing in 4th on 224. Good week for you, David. Nice to see. Dan Can't Ruck, the current champion from last year, down in 5th place on 220. Clansman on 205.5. Villa Farrell having another good week, not just in the Predictor, but doing well in the Fantasy as well. Mr. Cucumber, GMC 10 across the pond. You guys dropping down towards the 200. Ian and Alex joining on 196 there. I'll scroll down just so everyone can see their names. There's a lot of people to get through. These videos are getting longer and longer every time I get into them. So I'll scroll down so everyone can see their names. Sorry, I'm not going to read everyone out. It's getting very long, these videos now. In terms of the teams then, Really tough to sort of work out because so many people went for so many similar players. Basically, your forwards, there was a lot of French picks. If you wanted to go for your forwards, France were doing well, Irish players were doing well. In terms of your props then, it was Cyril Bay, I think was the number one prop on 12 points. No one picked Antonio, so I don't know what he scored. Schoeman, I think, was the second highest on 9 points. So if you went for those, they were your boys to follow up with. Hookers. I'm going to go on a rant here as well. Get ready for this one. So last week when I was setting up my team for round 4, I positioned myself getting into round 5. I knew Scotland were playing Italy, and I knew it could be that Ireland were going for the Grand Slam. I set up my team in round 4 so that my 2 hookers for Superbru was Dan Sheehan and George Turner. I had both of them. I played Dan Sheehan last week. He got injured. And I was like, oh, that's ruled him out for round 5. Looks like I'm going with George Turner. He got magically healed in between rounds. And on the Friday night, I debated for hours. Like actually about 2 hours, flipping between the two, trying to comprehend how the teams were going to play, who's more likely to go for driving mauls out of the two, which way do I go? My gut was telling me, stick with Dan Sheehan. Dan Sheehan can do something amazing. I listened to my head and came to the conclusion that Ireland going for the Grand Slam, bonus point tries don't matter. Any penalty in the England half, they'll just take 3. We won't see a driving maul. We won't see Dan Sheehan do anything. Go with your head. So I picked George Turner. Now, George Turner ended on 7.5 and Dan Sheehan, the best hooker of the round, finished on 25. That is a difference of 17.5. Just bear that number in mind, okay? So the best hooker was Dan Sheehan on 25. Lock department, again, a lot of people went for very similar players here. Thibaut Flamand playing well again, along with James Ryan. And from all the teams, you can see in the yellow there, I don't think anyone picked a better lock. If you saw one, make sure to drop it down in the comment section. Back row, real tough in terms of the back row. Josh van der Fleer scored 12. Jack Dempsey scored 16.5, I believe. So Jack Dempsey, I think, was actually the best in the round. And finally, Charles Olivon finished on 14.5. So they were the boys you wanted to go for this week. Scrum halves is just orange across the board, is all 11 because everyone went for Dupont. I actually don't know if anyone managed to outperform him in terms of his game. Fly half, Blair Kinghorn. I thought I played an absolute blinder picking Blair Kinghorn. Got his hat-trick. 28 points Blair Kinghorn was absolutely your boy to go for, including kicking. He would have got even more as kicking, but not a lot of people picked him as kicker. There was no other fly half that exceeded him. You sent a partnership along the way. You can see a lot of the blue is the same across. Everyone went for 20. Everyone has gone for Gael Ficou and Hugh Jones. But it was actually Bundy Aki, I think, was the best centre. He scored 13. So it would have been Bundy Aki and Gael Ficou, I think, were your best two to go for. Your back rows, man, a lot of people went down very similar routes for this one. I finished on 101.5. I think your best 3 were the 3 that everyone was sort of picking. Damien Penaud scored 23.5. Ramos scored 15.5, which made him 31.5 if you made him kicker, like I did. And Duhan van der Merwe scored 23. So a couple of people made him captain, but Duhan van der Merwe and Damien Penaud scored so similarly. It sort of rounded out the points to be basically the same. So congratulations to me, I guess, for winning the round, but it's a bit of a bitter, sweet victory for me in this round 5. So I'll remove the border from the left-hand column. I've been covering up because it's the better leaderboard. So taking the top spot this year goes to Etai on 1,039 points. Played an absolute blinder across all the rounds. I think Etai actually finished in like the top 3 in every round. Absolutely fantastic by you. Second place is me. We're the only 2 who scraped the 1,000 boundary. I got 1,028 now. Just to bring it back to what I said before, the difference between me and Etai is 10.5. The difference, had I gone with my gut and picked Dan Sheehan, was 17.5. I could have won. So this will haunt me for another year, and it actually means, for those of you following the channel, this is the second year on the bounce that Dan Sheehan has been the deciding factor. Last year, it was me versus Dan Ruck fighting for first and second. I was in first. Dan Ruck went for Dan Sheehan in round 5. He did really well again and overtook me in the final round. Dan Sheehan was the deciding factor in this one. And this year, it's because I didn't pick him. I didn't manage to get top. So Dan Sheehan, I'm picking him every game for the next Six Nations. Get ready for that one. Across the Pond manages to hold out GMC 10 on 986.5. GMC 10 finishing on 958. So there's your podium positions there. Etai, me, and Across the Pond. Dave Wakefield having a really good week this week. Climbs up 4 places up to 5th. A last-minute surge for you on 951. Just ahead of the old champion Dan Ruck with his purple crown there on 950.5. Half a point in it. Dave absolutely smashing that one out in that final round, getting just ahead. Gravy drops down 2 this week on 936.5. Mr. Cucumber, Bowie, and Alex all climbing up. Alex just scraping in that top 10 spot on 903, the final one to get over the 900 point marker. Kelly dropping down 5. Bears Gamer climbs up 1. Wosteen Bach drops down 3. Villa Farrell up 4. What a fantastic Superbru entry you've had across the board for you, finishing in the top 15 on 886 as well. Cercery 2, unfortunately, dropping down 3 places. Rugby 15 down 1. Clansman climbing 5 places. I think you had a good week this week, didn't you? Yes, you're there. You had a good one this week, so climbing up a few places. Fantastic. Oh, man, it all went so wrong in this final round for you. Dropping down 11 places. What a shame for you. On 874, though, still a good score to finish on. Mattarello climbs 2. Top Notch, Rugby, Cameronfish, and Joshua Peers all dropping down a couple of ranks. Ian and Sambuca retain in 23rd, 24th. No shifting around for you guys there. Wow, there's a big difference there between 23rd and 24th. There's a big separation there, about 70 points. That's kind of interesting. Gobi climbing 3. Banana climbing up 6 places on 759. I'm new here, holds out 27th. Lepore drops down 2. Lord Nicholas and Betterav holding out 29 and 30th. T. Davis climbs 2 up to 31. Not quite enough to get into the top 30. And then slowly down towards the bottom. Then Schmittings dropping down 1 place. Rob down 9. Poverty Swifts just managing to overtake Kian for that sort of final place in terms of the point scorers. Probably a couple of late joiners for this tournament as well. And then unfortunately for you guys down here in the Wooden Spoon region, just not getting anything. I'm guessing just didn't fancy getting involved. You joined the thing and thought, I haven't actually got enough time to sit down and do it. So the crown will be handed over. Etai now remains as the champion of the Six Nations for another year. Thank you to everyone who has joined in with the Superbru. It's so much fun. I can't believe we have 37 people in this now. That is so many people. It's so competitive, but it's so much fun. And it's also been really nice to read in the comment section so many of you guys saying, I decided to join in. I'm enjoying rugby more because of this, because it helps a lot of people. If you just watch one team and you just watch your team play the game, sometimes the other games don't matter as much. A lot of people seem like they've got involved with this now and now are really excited for some of the other games in Six Nations. More people are getting into rugby because of the channel, and one of the big reasons is the Superbru. So I'm so glad it's helping so many people get involved. Anyone watching now that's thinking, oh, I kind of wish I had got involved, there's going to be more coming up. I think the Rugby Championship's on around the same time as the July Internationals this year. I'm not sure how that's going to work out. We might do one for the Rugby Championships, all the Southern Hemisphere teams playing each other. But the big one this year, the World Cup. Now, I've done one World Cup. It wasn't on the channel. It was just between me and a group of friends did the World Cup one. And it is hectic. There is so many games to keep track of. I'm also not sure how I'm going to do these videos because there isn't really a break in the World Cup to do these updates. I'll see how I get on across that World Cup, but that's going to be a really, really fun tournament. But thank you to everyone who has joined in, and thank you to everyone for watching the coverage over the Six Nations and getting involved with things like this. I've had an awful lot of fun. I hope you all have too. And for anyone who's still watching at this point, because it's kind of late into the video now, we're getting on a little bit, I am planning on doing a stream on Thursday. So make sure you set your clocks. I'm believing I'm going to be doing a stream about 7 o'clock UK time. I'll be putting out a post probably on Wednesday just to sort of remind people anyway. But if you fancy coming in for the stream just to say hi or just to talk about the Superbru, talk about some of the results of the games, we're going to be playing some Rugby 22. We'll play some of the fixtures from the Six Nations and have a general old rugby chat, which I really enjoy. I've been really enjoying the streams. I will see you all next time, guys. Bye-bye.